Hi Pamela. This video is to help answer your questions about the stitch counts in each row, as well as your questions about transitioning from the tweed section to the scale section of the fingerless gloves pattern. For the stitch count, everything is worked in increments of 2 because each section is comprised of 2 stitches that are repeated. So for the tweed, it's the single crochet and the chain, and then for the scales, it is a double crochet and a slip stitch, and those 2 stitches comprise the whole section. So when the only time the stitch counts change is during decrease rows. So if we're assuming, okay, so if we take the size large, you would start with the chain 40, and the first 6 rows would be worked with 40 stitches. Then when you get to row 7, you'll have your first decrease, and the decreases are worked in the chain spaces of through 2 chain spaces, and you skip that single crochet in the middle. And so when you single crochet 2 together as your decrease, you're actually decreasing 2 stitches instead of just 1. So in row 7, you would go from 40 stitches to 38, and then in row 8, for your second decrease, you would go down to 36 stitches because you would do that same decrease and reduce the knit stitch number another 2. Now, the quickest way to check after you've decreased to make sure you have the right numbers is to either subtract 2 from the stretch before where you're just doing the same thing, or you can take like for row 9, for example, it will say for the size large, single crochet chain 1 18 times. And so you can take that because it's just the 2 stitches repeated 18 times, then it's 18 times 2 is 36, and so you'll know you're on track that way. Once you get done with the tweed section and you want to transition into the scales, you're going to have to turn your work and begin working in rows. So the first step of that is, let's just assume that this is, or let's just pretend this is the end of row 24. So you would, at the end of row 24, moving into 25, you would slip stitch in the chain space, the first chain space there, and then you would chain 1, and then you're going to turn the work, and then do a yarn over. And now you're going to work the first double crochet in the same space as your join, and you're just going to work it right over the join, like so. Oot. And through. It's a lot harder to do through the lens of the viewfinder of a camera. Okay, so then you're probably going to want to move, you probably have to move this stitch over just a little bit to get to this part to do your first slip stitch in the single crochet. And this one may be a little bit tighter than the others, but once you slip stitch there, then you've begun row 25 and you are good to put your continuing double crochet in the chain spaces and further slip stitches in the single crochets from the previous row, like so. And then that's what it looks like on the other side. Much more textured on this side, and this loop here is what gives it the scaly look. So that's why we have to turn the work, because it won't show up as well on the inside. All right, so hopefully this has helped you answer your questions, and I appreciate you reaching out to me for clarification on this, and if there's anything else you need, just let me know. Otherwise, happy stitching!